Welcome back to the channel everyone, and a new video on the Transit Custom Eco Blue, I believe. So we left it in the last video that we needed to take the sump off in order to get to the oil pump and of course the wet belt. So Chris actually cracked straight on and got that off. You haven't got a lot of space there, you really wouldn't have been able to see what he was doing, so he actually just whipped it off camera. Of course that broken belt, all the teeth had to go somewhere, and you can probably now see a lot of those teeth are actually sitting in the bottom of the sump there. Then Chris has taken off the oil pump, and this is actually the wet belt. I know quite a lot of people was asking why the cam belt was in oil in the first video. This is not actually the cam belt, this is the wet belt which drives the oil pump. So that's that. That is the oil pump there. We're going to need to give that a bit of oil run out of it, sorry. That is going to need a thorough clean. And also this is the pickup that sits on the bottom of that pump and picks the oil up. And I'm not sure.
Shall I stick my finger in there?
Yeah, actually pull some of them out, Chris, if you can. So there's all the teeth as well. It started sucking up. Yeah, just, you always get bits of muck in that anyway. There is a filter inside it. If I just show the top of it. You can just about see in there. It's like a bit of a strainer. It's not really a filter, but that is all going to need cleaning out as well. Once we do get that all cleaned out, we can actually start the process of putting that back together, can't we?
Well, we've got the belt now.
Yeah, we have been, obviously I mentioned it in Sunday's video. I actually went to Essex and I've picked up all new parts for this. But there was some parts that we couldn't get. So the wet belt was main dealer only. The tensioner for the cam belt was main dealer only. And what else did I have to get from main dealer, Chris? I can't really remember. There was the steel gasket that goes on the top there. That's come from the main dealer. All full parts on the new wet belts in here. That's the new tensioner for the cam belt. So I've got that steel gasket, and also quite a lot of people in the comments section mentioned that vac pump, didn't they?
And someone's mentioned the fuel pump as well.
The fuel pump, yeah. So we get,
they can seize up.
yes, so we're going to be checking all that over. But the vac pump, once you remove it, it's got to have a new gasket. So I've actually purchased one of them as well. And I'm not going to say any numbers right till the end, but it's come to a fair few quid already, Chris, hasn't it?
Yeah.
All of the bits, like very, very expensive for this van. So we're going to crack on and get all.
Modify that as well.
Oh yeah, we are going to modify this. Some people may remember this, but it was from the Range Rover Sport that me and Chris repaired, and basically he's going to modify it so that we can bolt it on and just pressure check all of the cylinders and see, pump them up and see if any of them are leaking. We're quietly confident none of the valves are bent. They're all at exactly the same height and they're all closed, but just for a peace of mind for us, we are putting it all back together after all, so it will be nice to know. So we're going to get straight on and get all this cleaned out so that we can start the process of putting it all back together. On a time lapse this bit, guys, Chris has got the sump in the parts washer, just making sure every bit of debris is out of that, because you don't want it going into that oil pickup and causing problems for the engine. So we'll get that all cleaned out, get the pickup cleaned out and the pump as well, and then we can put those back together. But again, something we're not going to be able to show. It is quite low down, and it is just going to be putting that back on with the wet belt. So we'll concentrate on showing the top end, I think, and also doing the pressure test on the system. I appreciate from the comments section, quite a lot of you will probably never see what it actually looks like underneath with the sump off and other bits removed. But basically, guys, this is where the oil pump does go. And that wet belt goes onto this cog here, and then obviously onto the oil pump, and it's driven by the crank there. And then you've got the diesel pump there, and the bottom pulley there for the cam belt. So I just thought I'd show all that. We have got to clean up a lot of this off the bottom here and make sure there's no oil coming out of it at all, because it doesn't actually have a gasket. It's just sealed with some sealer. We have been and bought a big tube of that as well, but I thought I'd show a little bit more in depth. You can see a lot more of it. Maybe a little bit too close there, but yeah, while Chris is just He's just messing around making up that tool as we speak. He has cleaned out the sump in the parts washer. Oh, I've actually just shown you that, haven't I? I won't film it, guys, because we have already done it, but we've put all the pistons about level all the way across. This is the plate that Chris made up. We've had the pump on there, we've pumped them up. They're all holding about the same sort of pressure. The good news is we got nothing coming out of the inlet and nothing coming out of the exhaust as well. So it's looking like all them valves are okay. I know this plate looks like it's pushing down slightly on the valves, but it isn't. We've actually got a little gasket underneath there, copper washer. There is a tiny little bit blowing by underneath, but you've got to expect a little tiny bit of blow by on a vehicle that has done 130,000 miles. So we're going to actually start the process of piecing this back together, Chris, right?
Yep.
We need to get that engine secured again and actually get that engine mount back off so that we can get the new belt on there and start putting it all back together. And again, just before we put the cover back on over the bottom of the wet belt, I just wanted to show that we had put it on there. There's a little cover that goes over the bottom here, and then once that's on you wouldn't be able to see it, but that's all the oil pump all bolted back on as well. The oil pickup and the return is all back on there, and you can see it's all nice and clean. We've got the little cover there, we get that bolted on, and then we can move on to the sump. It's the next morning now, guys. We did work quite late on it actually last night, and Chris has made an early start on it this morning before I got here. So you can see he's put all of those rockers back in. They've all been oiled up nicely. They do just drop in there, and a nice new gasket on there as well. Let's get that torch down now. You can see we've got it pinned up there, the bottom pulley, with a 5mm drill bit actually. Goes through the actual cog itself into the housing. That is one of the marks. And we've got a new cam belt tensioner on there, and you can see it is under tension with that pin in it, and that's how it comes. Once you get the belt on there, you release that pin, and then that takes up the tension in the belt. So really moving along with it, that side of it, we're pretty much ready. Over to the bench, you can see everything's laid out nicely so that we can put it back together in order. Got the torque wrench ready, and this is the new cam carrier that I went to Essex and actually picked up. And these are, what did they say? They buy brand new engines in complete, because Ford don't sell the parts. They actually break them up into parts. So this has been fitted to an engine, but it is brand new and they sell quite a lot of them. You can turn it upside down. Nice one, mate. You can see in there, it's never been used. None of it. And this is the way we wanted to go, just in case one of these lobes, it only has to move the slightest fraction, and that would cause serious problems. We've checked through, quite a lot of people commenting about the vac pump. We have checked that through, and that is all spinning freely. There's nothing wrong with that at all, is there? All seems to be fine. Also last night rather, again, it is quite hard to get in here and film, guys, but we're showing as much as we can. The diesel pump, that's all timed up, and we've also spun the engine over and it's running freely. There's no problem at all. The diesel pump, a couple of people was concerned that may be seized up, but that all seems fine as well. I think it was purely down to belt failure. So we are going to crack on now and actually get that cam cover back on there, get that bolted down so that we can move on and fit the new cam belt. I was in the background there, guys, just cleaning up the body of the injectors before we move on to putting them in. There was a little bit of oxidisation around the outside of them and a bit of build up, so I'll just clean that off. Chris fitted the cam cover back on torqued all the bolts down to spec. That's all now back exactly where it should be, and everything's bolted up. We have got the timing, obviously everything's all pinned up, and we have just slipped the timing belt on. And you can see there's a little bit of slack here, but we haven't pulled the pin on the tensioner. This tensioner, it actually comes with the pin in it. So as soon as we pull that out, that will take up the tension on the belt. And then what we're going to do is actually turn it over a couple of revolutions by hand, just to make sure we're completely happy with it. What we'll do is we'll give it a couple of revolutions, and then we'll go ahead and pin it all back up again. Just make sure everything's bang on. It's definitely worth double checking. So we'll get that pin pulled out, do that, and then hopefully, if that all goes well, we can continue on, get all the injectors fitted and keep building it up. So we just got carried away, just turned it round quite a few times, just kept making sure that nothing was touching, it all flowed nicely, and as soon as we did decide to stop, we put all the pins back in and they all clipped back in their holes exactly where they should be. So we're quite happy that it's timed up. We now need to move on and actually start. This cover has to go on, Chris, before it starts, doesn't it? Because obviously it's in the oil, there'll be oil everywhere. So we'll concentrate on getting that cover on. Again, we did buy a new one of them. Is that around? Yeah, it's here. A couple of people said in the comments, yeah, they're a throwaway item, Rob, and they're really cheap. But actually, guys, from the dealer, it was about £160. And where we bought it from, that Transit, TP UK, it was actually about £75. So
it does come with a new crank seal.
Yeah, the new seal, so, and new crank seal there. So all good. Not cheap, but I did speak to a guy while I was there, and he said he's had to reuse one before, but it's not recommended because where they're glued on as well, the glue is obviously part of the gasket. As soon as you get a little bar in there and start prizing it off, you are putting bends in it, so it's just no good. We just got a new one for it and then it's done. Let's move on and actually get that all glued up and fitted. Moving along so nicely. All the injectors are back in, the injector rails back in there, all the leak off hoses are all clipped up and done there up on the top, and Chris was laying down underneath there getting all that bottom. Let's just shine that torch down there, mate. We've got the new plate on the end there. He's just moving on to getting this engine mount, getting all the bolts in it, and of course all the belts and everything like that's back on now as well. So all these have got to be nipped up, and then I've got the alternator ready, can get that fitted on there and just continue on. It's lots and lots of little bits. There is a lot to it, and you really can't show too much of it unless I'm just standing here watching Chris do a bolt up. You can see that gap he's working in there, and it has all got to go back together in an order, so we have to kind of pay attention to what we're doing. But so far so good, and done it in quite good time this morning, I think, getting it back together. But we are just going to continue on and try and get all that back together, and fingers crossed, you know, turn this van over. I'm looking forward to it. As you can see, we didn't want to time lapse too much of it. We just cracked straight on, got involved, and actually got most of it back together. Now this black cover, the rocker box cover, we haven't actually put on yet because, well, I'm not even going to say the word, but we haven't put that back on yet. We have temporarily plumbed everything up on the top here. Everything's tight, everything is all plugged back in. The intercooler pipes, EGR system, all of that is back on. So the only thing really we've got exposed is 2 water pipes, the lower rad pipe and the top rad pipe, and airbox, Chris, isn't it? But yeah, before we move on, I just said to Chris, I better do that oil and filter. It's nice and easy to get to. The oil filter's right there. We've already drained it down. So let's get that swapped out and then continue on. We're quite enjoying doing this one, guys. We've not done an engine like this before. So it is, Chris said, we're learning as we go. So It's the basics are the same. What did you say earlier? Bang, squeeze.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Suck, squeeze, bang and blow. It's basically the same concept. Well, it is the same concept, but that really is a little bit different. So anyway, enough waffle. As you can see, the oil filter is on there. Again, guys, we got that much room down there. It's really not worth doing it. I've put an oil filter on it. I've got 7.5 litres of oil in it so far. I've just checked the dipstick. We are getting very, very close to actually cranking it over. We don't want to put the air filter on it just yet because we want to see if there's any diesel leaks, if it does fire up, when it fires up, rather, should I say. I
don't think it'll run without the airbox.
No, because it has got a sensor on it. The wire's here.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oil pressure.
Oh, yeah, we want to build up oil pressure without it running.
Yeah.
And hopefully the oil light goes out. So we're just going to tie up a few loose ends, like get everything out of the way, make sure nothing's going to foul any of the bolts, and then we're nearly ready.
We might as well just crank it now and see if it cranks all right.
Yeah, I'm just going to...
if there's any oil pressure.
I just want to check all these pipes and that, make sure everything's out of the way, and then we'll cut straight back in. The timer's come, guys. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Like Chris said, he ain't sure about that because it has got a sensor on it, and we have got one of the other air pipes off. But most important, obviously, get that oil light to go out so that the oil pressure builds up on it. But everything's moved out of the way. Nothing's going to foul. The battery's been on charge for quite a while now, so... Well, it's making noises. Yeah, go. Gone out already? Sounds okay, doesn't it? Wang it over a few more times. Just get the oil right round there, because that's completely... Yeah, but at the top, that wouldn't have got to the top that quick, would it? That's completely dry out there. It did sound all right. I can hear it chuffing, yeah. I did buy, if that's in... Is it? Right, we're going to get the airbox on then, guys, and give it another go. Don't forget as well, the diesel system. When it was outside in the yard the other day, and we had all of the injectors out, I actually turned the key on to put the windows up, and diesel poured out everywhere, but all the injectors have been out, so they've got no diesel in them. That's all going to need to get up there as well. There's going to be a bit of air in the system, so we'll crack on, get the airbox fitted and try it again. Chris has just chucked that airbox back on, got the air pipe on it, just plugging in the, I suppose that's air mass sensor, Chris, is it? Yeah. I'll put that away, mate. That'd be all right anyway, won't it, to run it? Oh, Chris is just going to nip up that Jubilee, stop it having any air leaks, but honestly, I've never felt so nervous after repairing a car, a vehicle. I genuinely haven't. There was so many, in the comments section, so many people saying, trust me, mate, it's got bent valves, get a new engine. Other people saying about the recalls, quite a lot of people. That is something we need to look into. Good to go.
Yeah,
Wang it over. They are just for the rad fans, so, and the resistor, so we're not really too worried about them, but everything else seems to be plugged in. Yeah, whenever you're ready. Yes! Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Chuffing. It's not out the airbox. Injectors. I deliberately didn't put the new ones on because they're one-time use. All right, then. Sounds lovely apart from that air leak. Not air leak, guys, the injectors. Can you hear it chuffing? I'll wait till Chris stops revving it and we'll let it tick over. Can you let it tick over for a sec? Can you start it up just one more time? I want to hear that ticking for the camera. Out of AdBlue. Oh, we'll have to get some for it. Yeah, just start it up quickly. Hopefully, guys, you can hear that chuffing noise. That's the seals on the injectors. Yeah, that's it, mate. Thank you. What a save. Well, I ain't got no bent valves, that's for sure, so... Do you hear that? I don't know if you can hear Chris in the background there, guys. He's saying it's got no engine management lights.
All it comes up is AdBlue and brake system malfunction.
Yeah, brake system
Everything else goes
malfunction. I did see that come up actually when I was doing a bit of research, and that's dead battery, believe it or not. Quite a lot of people took their vehicles back to Ford because it was coming up with that. And it was the battery, yeah, it will need clearing. But, oh guys, we're made up. She is a runner. I did say previously that was quite expensive for the parts, but definitely nowhere near half as much as it would have been to buy an engine for it. Experiment here, guys. Me and Chris actually did just do it, but we're trying to establish that it's definitely them that are blowing. So a little bit of WD in there. And number two, the washer actually stayed in. Start it up, Chris. See that, guys? That'll do you, mate. So on the bottom of these injectors, they have a one-time use copper washer. I did buy a new set, but we wanted to know that this engine run before I actually put them in. I know it looks like a lot of work to change them, but it isn't. It is just 110mm and a 17mm bolt, the leak off hose, and it pulls out. You got the new one there, Andy?
Yeah, they're on
If you grab them for me, I can just show what they are. So they're basically little copper washers, and they squash in there and they actually seal them up. So we'll whip them out and get them fitted, but well chuffed. It is only number two, but we will change all four. It's not worth just changing one of them. Oh yeah, and we have got to take it back apart to put that engine cover back on the top of it again. So that ticking, you probably wouldn't have even heard it through that. I'm so glad we did leave that off. Guys, genuinely, Chris just said, I'll get on and we'll do that now. We'll change them, we get this fitted on, and we'll start putting it back together. And I was like, mate, it's nearly 4 o'clock. We got to get this video uploaded yet. I know that you have all got used to a nice long video lately, but honestly, I can't get this grin off my face. I'm so chuffed that van run, and I know Chris is as well, because of the comment section. Genuinely, you know, I read all of the comments. Chris does read through as many as he can, and we do, you know, we did reach out and say, if any of you guys have done one of these vans, please let us know, and any advice, we would really appreciate it. So of course we made a point of reading through all of them comments, and a couple of them, Chris, scared us a little bit, didn't they? There was like people saying, yeah, it's definitely, you got no chance that wouldn't have ruined that engine. But you know, you've got to give it a go. You have got to give it a go. Worst way, we could have took the rocker cover back off with the cams in it. We knew there was nothing wrong with that. All of the other bits would have been okay. Yeah, it would have been a waste of gaskets, but if you don't try, you're never gonna know. And this time, it don't happen often, it paid off, and we couldn't be happier. So obviously there's going to be another video on it. Hopefully Chris can wait. He don't normally, he'll probably crack on and get it done over the weekend while I'm not here, but hopefully he waits, and we'll get them seals done. We'll get the new air filter in it, and we'll get it all back together, and it'll be a whole nother video. There's a little bit of bodywork still on it, but I'm certainly going to be content and happy over the weekend knowing our biggest job this month biggest job in a while has really paid off. So couldn't be happier. Guys, if you do enjoy this video, like you enjoyed the last one, because I know so many of you did, please do give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate it, and it does show your appreciation. Check out the merchandise, link is in the description, and follow us on Instagram throughout the day with the little sneak peeks at Salvage Rebuilds. Don't forget, please like, subscribe and share, and we'll see you we won't see you early next week. We've done a Sunday video for you guys, so you've got something to look forward to there Sunday, and I'll put that out at 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock Sunday, there'll be another film for you. I'm gonna go, we need to upload.